should be going.
Duck dicks. Woo.
What a wretched way to die, duck dicks. Ooh. um, like, give that context for our audience. What a way to start this session. Ages ago, when the Earth was young, we were in a campaign. The first one that I hosted online, the Isle of Conquered Worm, where one of my players at one point went on a tangent about prehistoric ducks that were very large, which resulted, for some reason, in me singing about dinosaur-sized ducks with horrific corkscrew Jenna. So, anyways, we're in Currents of War. It's been a while, I feel. There were weddings.
Yeah.
I had Halloween bullshit. It was busy. When last we left off, the group climbed up that big-ass tree. They fought a dragon that was essentially a woodpecker the size of a rhinoceros, or an elephant, really. And they met an Eoten, which is a relative of the Jotun, the ice giants of Germanor. Not quite as powerful as them, but still pretty powerful. The autumn to the Jotun's winter, if you will. The Eoten named Francis was essentially a zookeeper or a wildlife preserve ranger. In a time period where zoos and wildlife preserves don't quite exist yet. He's been taking care of various indigenous fauna of Francaine, keeping stable, breeding populations of them in well-maintained pens up in the boughs of this sky oak tree, this massive mountain-sized tree growing out of Francaine's western coast. And he's the reason why the Belle Dormant Woods is so full and of life and so richly populated and has a variety of creatures in it, because he's been maintaining the biodiversity, despite the best efforts of humans to sort of stop the biodiversity from being a thing. Our heroes informed him that war has come to Francaine and that none of us are safe, and kind of ruined his day. But at least he knows now. And they also found out from him that he's kind of pissed about Barbarant releasing a bunch of giant new chimeras that are not balanced with the ecosystem whatsoever. But the Tarrasque basically killed all the megafauna of the Colette Flock Lake, and a lot of those were pretty important. So we have an additional reason to go fight Barbarant, given from the Eoten. One, to protect the biodiversity of Francaine, and two, if they do that, he might get some of his more battle-ready animals and commit them to the war effort to save Francaine, so that'd be nice. And while in the Sky Oak, our group managed to be at an angle, probably the only possible angle for which to see that across... Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Okay. It sounded like a woman screaming. Across the river. That just gave me a frighten. Across the river, hidden in the hills and trees of Angelsex, the Bretonche country that's directly across from Amoragal and Francaine, there is a fairly large, heavily fortified goblin fortress that none of you were aware of till now. And you have decided to risk entering the territory of Angelsex, entering Bretons, and leaving Francaine just a little bit to see what the fuck's going on with that. Because no one should be able... No one knows of a goblin fort over there so close to Francaine. And the way it's built and where it's built, the only way you could see it is if you had this high of a vantage point. So it's likely that nobody until now has noticed it's there.
We did notice the heraldry, right? Because remember we got...
Oh, and yes, you did notice the heraldry and managed to suss out that it looks to bear the flag of the army of Demon Lord Morkill, the the horrible witch and wizard human sorcerer who essentially started the what was retroactively called the First Goblin War. Um and to show how inaccurate of a title that is, um his army was primarily composed of ogres and enslaved undead. Goblins made up a very large number of foot soldiers, but they weren't the heavy hitters, and they had essentially been press ganged into being in the army in the first place, or bribed with the promises of being given better lands if they joined in the fight. Um, Most of the army of Morkill was destroyed, but there were scattered vestiges. And it seems that at least one of them is keeping the flags up for whatever reason.
And we've talked about borrowing some of Francis's trained rooks, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, because Duck did talk to them, and Duck promised them fish.
Yes, tucked in. Okay, so you're going to fly the evils to Fort Morago.
Duck
Well,
did want to go talk
CinemaSins.
to the dragon, but can do that when we return the rooks.
That's true. All right, CinemaSins won't ding us. We use the eagles. All right. There are a number of eagles living in the tree, and you are able to get one to carry each of you. You're leaving Martha and the Yales up here in the tree, I trust.
Yeah, that seems
Yeah,
like
that
the
makes
more
sense.
intelligent thing to do.
All right, so that's one eagle for each of you. These are eagles that are like, well, they're like Marahute and the rescuers down under size.
Mm-hmm. Sexy.
You know,
Yes,
But-
we had that conversation already.
God damn it, Tumblr. We're just dealing psychic damage to me today. That's an unusual experience. Normally, I'm the one dealing it out. All right.
Sometimes you're the fucker,
So
and sometimes you're the fucky.
Mm-hmm.
you don your eagles. Forgot how much every time I look at this map, I'm reminded of how much we've graffitied it with plans. You hop aboard your eagles, and you fly over this bridge on your way to Fort Morago. Not low, obviously. You're very high in the sky, but you are able to see down there. And this is what you're going to see from up high.
Should I comment the bridge? Duck.
I was typing that before the map even changed.
There are a number of knights gathering on the Anglesec side of the bridge. The bridge itself is pretty worn out, and it looks like some of them are actually performing maintenance to make it more suitable to march an actual army across. And it's hard to make out, but there's one figure on the bridge whose armor seems just a little bit nicer than the rank and file soldiers. And he's got a familiar big ass fucking shield with a red dragon on it.
While we're flying, I guess Monsieur doesn't need an eagle, but it'd be funny if he's still riding one. Just because.
I think he is because Moncher is able to fly, but the way his type of dragon is built, he's probably not really built for long distance flight.
Also
Yeah.
speed, because he's got all those shields and heavy armor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, I mean, if you just look at him proportionally, he's not a very aerodynamic dragon.
True.
You know, he's able to fly off the ground in battle, and I imagine it's mainly reactive, just flying when someone takes a swing. But I don't think he'd be able to have this long, sustained, fast flight that the Eagles would provide.
Yeah,
Right.
and
But Duck will call over to Monsieur and goes, "Hey, is that one of the goons? Gersten's goons?"
seems like it. Yeah. Should we fuck him up?
Like to the rest of the group.
I mean, they're right there.
Are
Oh.
you crazy?
Wait, is it the one that seemed a little more skeptical? Or wait, this is
You
Flame's
can't.
half brother, right?
I mean, out of character, yes. But in character, you're not that close. What you can
Okay.
make out is there's one in a much nicer suit of armor with a big long shield, and that honestly could be any of the three of them from where you're flying.
Duck.
Hmm?
Comet the bridge.
I mean, I was thinking that, but if we're going to try to convince the goblins, this would be the bridge they need a crossover on. I could comment them.
You crazy? If you attack them from up here, you're just going to draw their attention.
They'll just think a flight of eagles dropped a really big flaming rock on them. That happens, right?
I'm not confirming that for you.
No, that was Duck to the rest of the party, like her going, no, she's in the tone of voice, it's just like, they don't actually do that. I'm just saying it because I want to.
I'm not opposed to you attacking them right now.
I mean, we could attack him or we could spook him. We are kind of on the backs of giant eagles.
We could try stealing his armor.
What if this just spurs them to start... quickens their invasion?
Oh, you know what would be interesting, though? Is if we go over to the goblins and tell them, hey, there's a group of the Goblin Slayer army just around the corner.
It couldn't hurt.
Plus, I mean, we'd have to warn them about it.
Yeah. Because
See-
who knows how long it'd be until they turn on them.
Yeah. Duck's just like, oh, come on.
Duck's so pissed she mounted her motorcycle.
Eh. God, I hate them so much.
Fair.
Now that it's actually nice enough to have the window open, they've been miss me, and it's nice enough for them to go driving. Oh my God, shut up.
That just reminds me of when we were at TT's, and for whatever reason, like 30 motorcycles drove by at like 12 a.m.
It scared the shit
Yeah,
out
That
of
was
me.
upsetting.
Yeah, we have that sometimes called Bike Week here, but that's like in the spring.
We all sat
But,
up on the couch like a bunch of fucking meerkats and went, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
The motorcycle gang from Dawn of the Dead. Tom Savini's going to crash in through the window.
No.
But anyway,
Tom Savini.
Duck she is very tempted to cast Comet on them upon seeing they were, she was even thinking, like, no, we could probably destroy the bridge to slow the advance from this way, stop the tread scar path. But then seeing them, it's like, oh, they're even more tempting. But then she's just like, wait, no, we're trying to recruit an army that's nearby. This might be the bridge they need to take. So
Well, I could go and try and spook them, and when they inevitably go, you're not spooky, then we blow up the bridge, and then we warn the military.
They might have salamanders. Probably have salamanders. So,
Like the ethical dilemma this is causing us. or not ethical, strategic dilemma this is causing us.
Yeah, Duck's failing as she's wants to blow things up, but she's also a strategist, and she's like fighting with the thing. It's like I have to decide where and when to blow things up.
Yes.
That's really just what life's about, isn't it? When and where to blow things up.
That's true.
And the answer is always and around small children.
Wow, alright.
So we try to spook them to start.
I mean, if that's what we want to do, and then like give warning that they'll be buried in the woods, never to be remembered, their bodies and souls lost forever to the trees, and then if they go "fuck you," we remember you, you twat, then you blow up the bridge, and then they go, "Oh no, he's sent from God," and then they get really panicky. Trust me, it's a Breton's thing.
I just want to note, canon-wise, this is a world that does not have a concept of monotheistic religions.
I forgot for a second. That's my bad.
A god
Just for canon, you know, if this is like all tabletop RPGs, it's a first draft of a story. It's fine, but that would be one of the first things I'd revise. Doing draft 2 is like, oh no, you can't say they say God. It would have to be gods or a specific god.
One of the gods is mad at us and blew up the bridge in front of us.
Yeah, but there is no monotheism in Midgahheim.
No
The
monotheism.
French god.
Oh no, we don't have to do French. Didn't you get the blessing of Hela from the one
Yeah,
place
but-
into two?
That's
But
the
she-
thing, though. Francain and Bretons don't have a pantheon specific to them. They kind of just sort of borrow from their neighbors.
Exactly.
Some places
Hela
worship
is
Germanorian
a
gods.
ground influence, and a meteor is very distinctly a sky thing. So
Yeah.
can I
I
just
mean,
disguise the?
I mean-
Can I make the comet look like a giant acorn launched from the tree?
Then
And,
you're just gonna make them go to the tree.
yeah,
What I'm thinking, is somebody could land here that would provoke them into coming across the bridge because it looks like they're stopped here. And when they get here, then you blow up this section because then they'll fall in the river and float away
or drown.
or drown.
Flavian, do you want to try talking to him? Good chance one of them might be your.
No,
Oh, okay. You're gonna have Art go. You literally rose from the dead to stop them from doing this. So
Yeah, I was gonna do my big spooky yell. You know, the one that intimidates people. I'm gonna do that one. Be like all big and intimidating, warn them, cross not into these woods or be forever joined amongst the roots or something like that. It'd be really funny if we drowned him after that.
have you considered that, their movements have been a little bit quiet lately, and if we do this may just aggravate them to increase their invasion efforts.
well, this is definitely going to be something they're interested in if they set one of their, one of his lackeys here, unless this is like a punishment assignment.
It could be a punishment assignment. I don't think he liked that one kid very much.
So Art lands and we stay in the Eagles in the air.
If that's the plan we want to go
Madness.
for, I'm just throwing a plan out there.
Yeah, see if we can get them moored to there, whatnot.
I know it's a solid plan. Don't get me wrong or nothing like that. And I don't necessarily want to just go around, every time we see one of the things attacking. But it's also worth noting that despite the fact we've gotten this far and we threw them off further down the river, There's a bunch of them here in the woods.
Also, isn't this the bridge that was the Treadscar Path, DM?
Yes. Yes, it is.
This being one of the few bridges away from a city is probably why it was so commonly used. No defenses.
I mean, that's. We walked across it back in my day. I remember walking on this bridge. Looked better back then, to be fair.
So I'm
Of
going
course,
to
I think
ask
there was one.
potentially stupid question, DM.
Yes.
Are they crossing from the Francaine side back over into the Bretonche side, or are they crossing from the other way?
They're crossing from the other way. Like if I'm gonna briefly go back to the big map. If we look at the map here, so far they have tried to get across here, and they have tried to get across here, and have been stymied both times.
And
So
the
right
Tessia is
now,
too heavily fortified.
they seem to be trying to get across here, which is not the most ideal route because if you look, there is the Treadscar Path, but
They'd have to go a very
That-
big way around this woods if they didn't want to go in the woods.
yeah, the Treadscar Path, you've got Merlot, that's kind of big. You've got Fernfield, which is farms. You're not really hitting any big cities. And while you guys know there are actually quite a few Fairfolk targets here, you also know that really killing goblins and trolls and shit isn't the actual reason for the Goblin War, it's the excuse. The actual reason is looting, and if you want to loot, all the good shit's down here.
So they might be planning to go this way.
Yeah. But even then, that's not the best path. It's going to be very obvious and people are going to see them coming. And, be able to mount a variety of defenses. Whereas if they could get through one of these cities here, just through the bridges, even if they could get through the bridges into Lutetia, that's a much harder point. That's a much harder point to defend. So, sneaking around back here is not ideal, especially because it means you have to march an army through a lot of wilderness. Or down a very clear beach where, everyone in Champagan and Relocan can notice, tell the people of Melonbury, tell the people of Castle Broche and Javaur, get word to Lutetia, and by the time you actually do get to one of the big cities, there's a very huge army waiting, knowing that you're coming there.
So, destroying this bridge, since they're still on this side, would actually be a good idea.
Yeah. Because that's kind of why Deck was thinking of blowing it up before we even saw them. Because it's like, yeah, that would force them to go across already fortified places.
Yeah, I know Fort Morago, they wouldn't be able to get across as easily. But we're allied with Champagan right now. They could come across this bridge.
Yeah.
Assuming it hasn't been taken over.
Correct. So,
My strategic thinking is that the reason why they might be interested in this is, yeah, it might be a dumb idea to send their entire army through here, but it might be worth it to send like a smaller force either through the edges of the woods to do like a pincer attack from like a major attack from Champagan.
yeah, so I vote we destroy this bridge. If we can.
Yeah. Because I mean, if we're getting the Francis's help, we might be able to get magical animal help to transport the army across the river if they don't have salamanders, or we could get them from the Kulit Flak group. They've got salamanders.
Okay. So
That's true.
Gergen's going to put in my point in his point of view. It's just, this is it's not the best crossing route for an entire army, but it is a route. And it's already weakened, you can tell.
You know, it would probably be a waste, not a waste of time, but probably take too much time. But it would have been really funny. We fly back to the pit, not the. I can't remember the name. Pity.
Yeah, Pity of a Pit Dragon.
Yeah. Go over, and it's like, hey, there's a dragon slayer over on the bridge over there. But if there's a metagaming thought is, I don't want to kill Flavian's brother if there's a chance we might be able to turn him against, get the brothers to turn against dad, because that would be funny.
Also, getting your newfound dragon ally to specifically confront a person who specializes in killing her kind might also work out badly in a different way.
Well,
Yeah.
because Duck was going to bring up the collection of 4 Dragon Slayer armors she's done, and that's what pissed her off about Duck in the first place. So, might rethink that, actually.
The curse stymies your attention for a second. You think better.
God, this fucking curse.
Well,
anyways.
If everybody's cool with the
looks like whipping around, seeing if there's any flying around.
If everybody thinks that the bait and have them come through and then blow the weak part of the bridge up while they're there is a good idea. That sound alright for everybody?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, for character reasons, that Flavian thinks it's just going to accelerate the war. I think out of character, it kind of makes sense.
I mean, I'm ready to blow it up. I'm always ready to blow stuff up, so.
As evidenced by last session. Alright, well.
They help.
So the plan is...
We're gonna try and spook him, and then if we don't spook him, we boom him. Call it the spook and boom.
The spook and boom.
So where do you want to set down, my good chum?
Okay.
Here.
I was thinking right here.
All right. Your eagle swoops to the ground, and lands and lets you get off, and then flies away. As these British soldiers, these Bretonch soldiers, stop, see the giant fucking eagle that just landed and dropped off a walking skeleton, and immediately take up their arms. The knight in pristine armor with the Dragon Slayer emblem on his shield at the front, looks at you, tilts his head to the side. Well, fancy meeting you here.
Hold on, I had to refresh the page so I couldn't press my spooky button.
Press your spooky button.
Press the spooky button.
That's what I would say to my girlfriend if I had one.
So Art's going to do the spooky thing, but I need to make the opposing insight plus willpower check. So 1 second. Boom, bada, bing, bada, boom. There we go.
Insight plus willpower, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
So it's Art's going to point a hand and be like, both in the commanding authority of, someone who's been in the military, but also in the sense of the spooky skeleton that you see warning, don't go this way, you're going to die. Be like, point his hand and go, turn back on the path you came. The only thing amongst these roots are the corpses of those who came before. Trust me, I was here during the third one. I should have gone third war. That would have rhymed.
He looks at you. He sheaves his sword, drops his shield, removes his helmet to reveal the face of a youth of perhaps 25 years, perhaps a bit more. It's the younger George Garston III. Let's talk.
There is that second pause of Art going like, that wasn't on the plans.
And he
Are
holds
there
up his
familial
hand.
resemblance?
There's a familial resemblance. Both you've seen the father with his helmet off, and there's some to his father.
Mhm.
And there's just a bit, mostly around the eyes, that does remind you of Flavian. He holds up his hand and shouts to his troops, "Continue your work, sheathe your weapons." And then looks to you and says, "We are both citizens of Bretons. I believe we can have a civilized discussion."
Gray was not prepared for this.
I bet you weren't.
Just remember, you
Get
get Fabula point after or during.
You do. He is a villain.
He is a
Mechanically.
villain. Mechanically. I do just think
we all
it's really...
get that.
Just the person who'd be encountering him, I think.
So far, the rest of you haven't landed in the scene yet, so...
I am going to add another Fabula point to my roster so I do not forget. Because otherwise I will. So Art's going to come up and he's like, look, apologies about the lack of decor. Death kind of takes away a lot of that shine and brass. 100%. Literally that way is one of the most long and confusing things, and there are so many creatures on that path. You will lose so much men. 100%. And you don't want them being dead here, because for the most part, they're just buried in the roots. But sometimes the other guys will find you and be like, oh, we're going to put you in a place, and I have to come back up and warn people every time they try to cross this stupid bridge. As penance for my crimes when I was just following orders.
He looks at you very thoughtfully. Here, sit with me. He goes towards the edge of the bridge. You died on one of the previous ones, didn't you?
That you would be correct. Third one. We weren't in long, and it was kind of a waste of time, if I'm being honest.
He nods. I don't see much point in this whole thing, to be quite honest with you.
And like Art's kind of like lean back and like lean against the spear, like the old man kind of showing a little bit out of him. If I'm gonna be honest with you, mate, there's not really. There's a lot of bloodshed, a lot of dead bodies, a lot of mourning families, and no means of offense. A lot of the wealth and bounty tends to stay at the top, and a lot of people just have to bury guys like those. Specifically pointing to the little shield guys, because Art knows those guys die like really quick. And a lot of lost loved ones and things having to be buried.
He looks and he nods. I don't really understand why the wealth and the bounty is so important in the first place.
It might be a bit presumptuous of me, but are you with Garston Jr.'s crew?
This is Garston Jr. Well, okay, this is Garston III. So yeah, I guess, yeah. He looks at you and he's like, yes, that's my father.
Ah. Between you and me, from what I heard and what little I saw of him during the Third War, bit of a complete prick.
He nods, and you see that there is like a very deep well of sadness in his eyes, at how easily he admits that's true.
It nothing on your fault. Kind of like puts the hand on the shoulder. Nothing on your fault. I don't know what your relations is to him, but yeah, from what I remember, you do look a lot like him. So I'm assuming son and grandson. I don't know how long it's been, to be honest with you. It's been standing
Son.
here in the woods. Ah,
Father is a paragon. He has lived a very long life.
that's fair.
I'm the first paragon born to him, and so I am to live a very long life and to uphold the honor that our family name has accrued. He thinks this war will bring us honor. By way of riches, by impressing the nobility as if their opinion is worth anything. We're not even saving very many lives. Most of these goblins aren't even doing anything. They're just sitting in their hovels where they belong.
Like Art's like in the back of the head. Okay, still nobility, but not saying that out loud. It's when it comes to honor, and once again, got a bit of a different perspective on here from my side of things versus your side of things. You know, you being alive and I being dead. A lot of the time, there'll be lots of people through your life that will tell you certain things like, in order to gain honor, you must do these great things. To gain honor, you must do all these other things. But take it after your grandpapa. He didn't get into dragon slaying because he wanted the riches and fame. He did it because he needed to help people. To care for the people he took care of.
Exactly. Exactly, he says, nodding. And now there's a somewhat terrifying intensity in his gaze. Grandfather knew that there were dangerous things in this world that are threatening mankind, and they need to be extinguished. We're wasting our time with these pitiful wretches in their hovels when there are creatures out there who we need to track down into their lairs and slit their throats.
I was angling more on the part of, you're responsible for their lives and in turn their deaths and potential undeaths. But go off, I guess.
They're good men and they're fighting for a cause they believe in. And I do not like that I am leading them on this cause. It is why I volunteered for this mission, because it is very unlikely that we're actually going to see very much action this way. But there will be beasts. And those the world can do without. Those are things that once I have slain them on our way through this land, the people of the land will be thankful.
Give me the signal, man. Just give it.
Art is very clearly not giving the signal. You seem very set on this path, and like, so I just kind of guard the bridge and I try to warn people. Hey, look, there have been so many people who set up towns and things, but
he looks at you scrutinizing. He's like, "Why are you lying? I've seen you before."
Okay, cool. And he just like immediately deflates a little bit. Like, okay, cool.
What,
so
you thought those glamours that you were wearing were working on me?
I don't know, mate. You'd be surprised how many people didn't bat an eye and fell for the trick.
No, I wouldn't, because most people are fools.
You're not wrong.
I'm George Garston III, and I have seen through your disguises.
Okay. I was just gonna say, if there's a monster you want to take care of that might actually help you in that quest for glory, there's a.
It's not about glory. It's as you said. It's about helping people. That's what grandfather stood for. It's what my father has never seen. And he turns and says,
There is this
Want to
big thing called the
change.
Tarrasque.
What?
Oh, yeah, so if you want a real enemy, not like going against the war of Frank Kane or these people, they're kind of on our... It's kind of on my list to potentially go take care of. So there's a mad wizard, and he's making monsters. Sometimes you can talk to the monsters, but sometimes you can't. And I heard he's got this giant snail, like eats towns and things.
It's called a Tarrasque.
Wait, let me check my notes here real quick. What's the snail
The
called?
snail is called Carcolgon.
Oh, no, that's Carcolgon. I think a Tarrasque is a type of sausage. My bad.
You mentioned a Tarrasque first, though.
Not a whole lot
Where are-
of brain left.
Where are the
That's
rest
sausage
of your
finger.
friends? Where's the merchant that was with you specifically? I need to speak with him.
That is a good question. And Art will turn around and be like, "Oi! Flavian! The fuck are
You're
you?"
way down below. What he's gonna hear is. There's like a significant amount of sky between the two of you. They can see, they can't fucking hear you.
I imagine there was some sort of signal that you can give us that will tell us that we can land.
I will
would've
let
been
you
a
say
smart
that you
thing
guys
for us to
figured
do.
out I will let you say you figured out a signal because otherwise this would be an immensely stupid plan. You did say that he would like for him to signal, so I'm going to assume that you figured out what that signal would be.
Yeah, he just sticks up the pike and starts swinging it in a circle.
Okay.
I can't remember. Is that the blow everything up or run away signal?
I think that's the land signal. He's been down there talking to him for a long time.
I'm staying up here.
That's fair.
Why would we want to land?
We're not landing yet. It's just like
Once they
So,
get
Art,
Art just puts it
you're
down
waving a pole arm like you're stirring
a pot.
soup, but it's the air. And this
It'll be like
young
2
Dragon
minutes.
Slayer Knight is looking at you like you're batshit crazy.
And like eventually he just sighs, puts it down, and it's like they'll come down when they've deliberated out. I landed on that giant eagle.
I'll say that Grugan will have his eagle drop him like right down here,
Alright.
and I'll like confirm with Art that that they should like come down.
I was hoping we could get Flavian down. He wants to talk with him.
Okay. And I'll get back on my eagle and go up and tell Flavian that.
And like Art turns back to him. Is like, sorry about this. We didn't like we had a handful of signals. This was kind of a spur of the moment kind of a deal.
Because Grugan's like, I don't know what the fuck that means, but I better go find out.
He nods. Did you have family before you died?
Oh yeah. I had a wife. Originally was from Gray forgot the name of the place again. Art would
Summerley?
remember. Summerley, yeah. It's from Summerley originally.
He looks thoughtfully at that. My grandfather had a grand adventure there once.
oh really?
Yeah, I remember hearing tales about that.
It was
Worked for like the noble at the time before he did something silly with a bunch of monsters in a zoo.
some idiotic nobleman was collecting monsters and even a few dragons in an attempt to keep them shackled. Didn't realize those things belong on the ground.
Like, like the back of the head going, "Oh fuck, oh no, what did I do?" Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Would you have kids?
I'm gonna be real with you. If I had a daughter or a kid or nothing like that, it was just before I left for war, so I never got to see him if I did.
You look sad at that. What was your name?
Oh, apologies. Name's Art Baker. Ironically, was a carpenter.
Who's ironic? You say that you rose from the dead here.
Yes.
Do you know where you rose from? A grave? Just the ground?
Like, I don't know how Art would answer that, because he's like, I don't want the other dead to be disturbed. So he's going to look at him, and any of like the playful joyfulness is now replaced with, this is a skull haunted by a ghost at him.
Mm-hmm.
Swear to me you will not disturb the dead.
Of course not. I'm not a heretic.
I don't... No worries. It's just... You don't disturb them. So... What I've been able to piece together is that Francane and the Crypt of the Hallowed Dead down at the far south have this legend of, at the time of the nation's greatest need, the dead will rise up and...
He calms you by putting a hand on your shoulder and has a small smile and says, "You were buried. You were buried."
I was buried, yes.
But on the Frankish side.
Mistakenly, I was a Frankish soldier, but yes.
I know at the moment we seem to be on opposing sides. But should I survive this war, I will make it sure that your family knows that you died in service to your country. An honorable man.
I appreciate that. Now, this is a personal advice between me to you. If you do die on the battlefield, don't swear on something like, I'll make sure another Goblin War never happens. Because that's what I did as I was dying, and here we are. That's a little more Australian than I meant to go. My apologies.
Down under in a crypt.
I think if I die, I'm just going to be relieved it's all over.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Let me see exactly. Because I had to figure this out timeline-wise. Is it on the character sheet? Let's find out. If not, then it's probably in the Mod and Morty folders. God damn it. Please don't be there. Please be there, but don't be where I have to look. Ah, god damn it is. Fuck! Give me
He
a
should
second.
be younger than Flavian, right?
He's younger than Flavian.
Wasn't he in like the
Because-
1822 range?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but I would like to know. I would like to state it exactly because it is. It's important for me to keep that straight. Where's my timeline? There we are. Okay, it'll be on here somewhere. So. Oh, great! I get to do math. Why do you do this to yourself, William? This is why you should not have fictional worlds that you care about.
I feel you.
He is 22.
He is 22. So, between you and
In-
me,
And in Midgeheiim terms, 22, like 18 is when you're considered officially at the start of adulthood. So he's been an adult for 4 years.
fair enough. So between you and me, you got a long life ahead of you. Not counting the Paragon stuff, but that is going to give you an even longer life. 2 words of advice I can give you. 1, treat others with the respect you want to be treated with. Because let's be real, if you come off as a big and pompy and prosy kind of a person, most people are going to take the shit out of you. 2,
As they should.
as they should. That is entirely as they should kind of a thing. Apologies, I thought my commanding officer was a bit of one of those guys, and I'm pretty sure I'm dead because of him.
I have met a number of commanding officers in this army that wouldn't know how to find their ass if there was a map.
And the other thing, and the more important one I think of the two, don't fight for the respect of someone who will never fully respect you. It's nothing against your dad, but like he seems to only care about the fact that you're a paragon. And I don't know who the other perk was, but
So Bruno.
so Bruno, okay.
So Bruno, he's from Herefordshire. He's sort of an older brother to me. Not in a literal sense. It's just
Family's family.
he
where
was
you stand.
father's squire when I was too young to be, and so he's a good man. You should meet him.
If the chance allows, I will. But if you're going to have to constantly fight and fight and fight just to try to gain ground on for your dad, just to feel like it's worthy, don't bother with it. It's your life. Do what you need to do. Build your respect by respecting yourself first.
He doesn't say anything, but as he turns away from you, you can tell that he's actually thinking very, very deeply about what you just said.
Art's going to use this opportunity to look up looking for Flavian.
Your friends have abandoned you.
Yeah, all right. I'm here.
There you are, bud. Wondered when you get here.
But no funny business, okay? We're prepared. You be up
We're
to
just
something.
just talking.
George Jr.
Yeah.
stands up. His shield is already dropped, his sword is already sheathed, and he walks to meet you. He looks deeply into your eyes, and then he hugs you.
Flavian is just completely puzzled as this guy has his arms wrapped around him.
He pulls away and says, I'm sorry, it's just... I've always wanted a big brother. And I knew father had bastards. I didn't know I would ever meet one.
Flavian has to look up at him, I assume, a little bit, at least.
Yeah, he's a bit tall. He's a bit taller. He's got a bit more of your father's genes.
Brother, no, you're mistaken. I mean, I was mistaken too, but it was cleared up for me. We're not related.
No, Flavian Pascal, correct?
Yeah, that's me.
and I have to remember your mom's name. Why do I? Yeah, and your mother, Marion.
Yeah, that's my mom.
Father discussed that when we met in Champagan. Afterwards, we were on the road. You had already left to Relicon. That horrible green wizard man was trailing behind us, being obnoxious, and brought up the subject. And Father said that he knew Marion Pascal. He had bedded her and described in far too much detail that process, and that there was a child, and that you were not born a paragon, and so he chose not to be in your life, but that makes us brothers.
But why, bastard?
Yes, that is what you are, but I don't hold it against you.
Yes, but you're my
Just give me the signal.
little brother.
Yeah.
But if I remember right, you're.
Owen.
It should be good. We're good. Okay, we should be good.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. He bites his lip. He's like, I don't know if Father will ever acknowledge you, and I, from what I know of him, I don't think he's ever going to show you the love you're owed, but I've wanted my whole life for there to be more to my family than just that man. And I know that we're, sort of enemies right now. But if
I'm
we-
just don't mix things up. I'm just a merchant, you know. I'm just a merchant.
Right. Well, if we both survive this, I would like to know you better.
Yeah.
I might even like to meet your mom, although there are some things Father said that are going to be very hard to put out of mind. So probably not.
What about your mother?
Sorry, the cackling skeleton just sells this.
He looks askance. Never met the woman.
Huh.
I know that she is not any of the women my father has deigned to marry.
Even giving him a paragon, she wasn't good enough for him.
Perhaps it might just be that she didn't survive the process.
Yeah, I guess that's another way to look at it. A little morbid, but yeah, I suppose.
Why focus on what we don't have? Brothers! And he smacks you on the shoulder.
Yeah. Sure, it would be great, though, if you could convince our old dad to just stop this whole invasion thing.
Life would be great if I could convince him of a lot of things. But we're here where we are. Your friend Mr. Baker informed me of some monsters Francane is dealing with on this side. A Tarask and a Karkolgon.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down.
Yeah.
I think perhaps we could stay out of conflict if my army avoided any targets in between and just sought out these two beasts and brought them down for you. Then I would be following the orders of my father to make the countryside of Amorogol safe and prove the Goblin Slayer army's worth while not coming into conflict with you and your goblin and orc friends.
You're gonna
Would that be a suitable deal?
you're gonna hunt those things. I mean,
Hunt
I
and
guess
slay.
you're more experienced, I suppose, than me, but they're pretty big, you know.
I brought down my first great dragon 2 years ago. I think I'll be able to manage.
Oh. Just as a heads up, I personally haven't seen the snail one, but that Tarask, he's a big boy. Like a big boy.
And he shall make a very interesting trophy.
It's
We're gonna need a caravan just for the trophy.
But I think as long as you're not doing any pillaging and just kind of leaving most people alone and taking care of those guys, should
You
be
have my
fine.
word. I will keep my army in line. We shall do no pillaging. We shall strictly hunt these two savage beasts that are threatening the people of Frankang.
eh,
I swear on my honor as a knight, and when I swear that, I mean it. And if you doubt it, then I swear on the honor of my grandfather.
I wasn't going to doubt it. But you going to doubt it, Flavian?
I guess, you know, part of me does want to take you up on that offer after this war is over, so if it keeps you out of it, yeah, you should go at him. Just be careful.
I will. May we meet in happier times. And he looks at you, Art.
Yeah.
And may you find rest.
Yeah.
Once I get this business stopped, in theory I should. I haven't actually... There's no one's told me what happens when this is done. Alright, we probably should go let the others know before something kooky happens. Oh, wait. Before we go, how did your dad react to losing that suit of armor?
You see George Garson III start to smile and then stop himself, but not really well. He was displeased.
Yeah.
Good to know. Take care, bud.
He gives
Good
you a
luck,
nod.
little brother.
Same to you, big brother. It was good to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah, likewise.
I'm assuming this is where we
Well,
get back on the giant eagles, fly back
You
up,
get
and
back
Art's
on
like,
the Eagles and fly
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
Duck in, Muncher up there is just like, what do you think they're talking about?
I don't know. Human stuff.
you're right, it was human stuff.
Yeah,
Lied
Grillion
to
does
me.
look pretty bored.
Lied to me. Why would he lie to me like that?
Ooh,
Just, cause he's an asshole. This is the most blunt answer I've got for you. It's also correct.
I don't know why would Ross lie to me like that?
Because he's an asshole.
I could pitch the other theory that he was talking privately with George Gostin II. And, well, maybe he said something about clearing out, bastards or something. Having you around kind of makes you, he's a potential legitimacy claim to the throne. Be easy
The
enough to
throne.
mark up. You know his title, his lands. Your dad's rich.
Oh yeah, that's why I had a vendetta against him in the first place. You're right. I know he is my dad too. I gotta make him pay.
At the very
That's why
least,
he wants to kill you.
at the very least, that kid down there has got some blood relation to you. It's in the eyes.
Yeah.
So, bad news, Duck. We're not blowing up the bridge. Good news, Duck. They're going on a Tarask hunt. Most of them will die.
Yeah, well, with what that nature guy in the tree said, I don't think we should be all that worried if they kill the Trask anyway. It's apparently no good for the land, so whatever.
Well, you get to then explain that to Mary, because I'm...
This is true. They've sworn upon oaths, upon blood, that they won't attack or pillage people or fairy villages. He's got a bit of a... He's a bit hungry to fight monsters, but, like, he's a teenager. He'll get over it.
I'm just, also glad he didn't ask us too many questions about what we're doing.
Quite frankly, I'm glad he asked me what I'm doing, and I'm like, guarding the bridge. Took that at face value.
I suppose it makes sense. This is
I
a way
also
into
think they're
knowledge.
trying to repair the bridge.
They are.
So when we get the goblin fellers from the goblin village we're headed to, we should be able to go ahead and, like, you know, break it afterwards. It's a bridge. They fall down all the time.
I suppose that's alright.
I also sent him after the giant snail.
You did do that.
I figure, like, it's made by the Mad Monster Wizard, right?
Mhm.
And so far, everything we've run into made by the Mad Monster Wizard is incredibly damaging to the environment. It is incredibly dangerous to both fair folk and common peoples. And is overall not a good time. With maybe the exception of the hunting beast, I did not tell him about that.
Yeah, maybe we could have made one up too and sent him on a wild goose chase.
We also just came through the forest telling everybody, hey, if you see dudes in red armor, fuck them up.
Yeah, that's also true.
We
Duck
did do
mutters to
that.
himself. Send them after a wild swan. Jeez.
Let's go find this goblin village or city for... We'll probably blend right in. Except maybe you, Flavian.
All right.
I'm in green.
And so you skip that boss fight.
Okay.
I'm good about skipping boss fights.
And arrive
Wow, TT.
at Fort Morago.
I wonder if we have cut him out of a conflict entirely or not. Guess we'll see later.
Alright, I'm gonna show
Actually,
everybody
I'm gonna-
on stream this because this is a pretty good fort.
Thanks.
This kind of kicks
I had fun
ass.
building it. You fly your eagles and eventually find thanks to Duck and Grugan in particular, you find the pathway through the woods to land in outside of this massive obsidian stone fortress built right on the border of Francaine and Bretance, of Angelsex and Amorigal.
Grugan,
The fort. Oh man, you say I was good, but I just noticed that the fucking cornfields are on top of two towers. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. It's not gonna bug me. Just gonna move it.
Didn't know
There we go.
either, so.
Well,
It's
that's what
stylish.
happens. That's what happens.
It's camouflage.
Who even needs that guard tower there? Fuck that guard tower. It sucks. Anyways, you come into this fortress, and you guys actually have to help your 3 human, or rather, 1 human, 1 skeleton, and 1 dragon who used to be a human companions, see their way through the various Fairfolk glamours until you finally come across Fort Morago. Up close, you see that the various flags and banners showing the heraldry of the Demon Lord Morkill, which is a non-copyright infringing eye wreathed in flame, have an X through the eye. It looks like these have been sewn to be this way, but it almost looks like it's imitating like someone just literally just painting a fucking X over the eye. Possibly what happened to the original heraldic flags that were put on this castle. The architecture style is strange. It has the very ramshackle in appearance, but utterly and brutally efficient in actual performance look of goblin technology in welding and smithing. But there's a lot of the very sharp, vicious angles of orc armor and architecture, as well as some strangely human touches. And perhaps just a little bit of ogre architectural influence as well, particularly in how fucking huge the walls are. And even from here, you can see above there is this sort of hideous black tower with great big horns, horned prongs on the top that give it a nice menacing look and quality. It also almost looks as if it might have been taller at one point and broke. But now the broken parts have been integrated into it to look like aesthetic ornaments. As you come to the gate, you hear a couple of arrow slits open by the gate, and someone shouts, "Who goes there?"
Oh, I guess we have to.
Your silence speaks volumes. Who goes there?
Oh.
I was waiting to see if Duck wanted to go. That's why we have two awkward people.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. Travelers all the way from Skullcrack. We bring warnings about a new Goblin Slayer army.
Some murmurings. We heard about Skullcrack. Burnt to the ground quite a few days ago.
Yes, and we've been marching our way since, warning other Goblin and Fairfolk villages about it.
We've been stopping them from getting a foothold anywhere, but
There's some chatter. Friends, I wish to believe you. But you got those 3 strangers with you. The dragon, I trust. Not sure about the human and the skeleton, though.
All of them have been with us since Skullcrack. They have fought against the Bretonch and spilled human blood, each of them.
They won't let me die till I stop this stupid war.
He was literally resurrected to prevent it from happening.
What do you think? Does it sound like bullshit or is it plausible?
I think it's plausible, boss. You know how ghosts are.
I do, yeah.
Flavian here just wants to sell you stuff.
He's a merchant. He doesn't care about war and stuff, except for when it interferes with profits, right?
That's a generous
Yeah,
say.
I just like money.
You know the general's word, sir. The general says you gotta keep an open heart. It's the only way.
Alright! We're opening the gate! No funny business!
And you are allowed to enter Fort Morago. When you come inside, it's uncanny. It is a very well-structured fort. There are guard towers within the walls. Basically all designed to withstand a siege and have multiple levels to move back in the event of a siege. There are some farms set up to make food just in case they're cut off. There is a whole barracks section for soldiers to train. There are houses for people and their families to live. There is a sparsely populated at the moment market. Because it seems like they're not getting a lot of traders at the moment. And then there is the inner fort, where at one point probably some various high-level soldiers in Demon Lord Morkill's army ran this place with brutal military efficiency, but now it is run with a more gentle hand, though still one that is a fist of iron when needed to be. A couple of goblins emerge from the tower walls to greet you as you come in.
Sorry about the third degree, mates. Can't trust no one too hard in these troubled times.
Of course.
No problems.
No blame upon you.
Doesn't seem like this place needed much of a warning about anything.
No, we've been on edge since the first one we have. Dangerous times being a goblin, but when is it ain't. So,
Should also
it's finally reached Rankane. Not just Skullcrack then, is it?
No.
It's not just a Bretonch either. You're being attacked on two sides.
Are you the head?
Oh
Boss?
no! I command those on the wall, but if you're to see the boss, you got to go to the great big tower.
Is that something that we can be arranged to be able to do?
We have very important things to speak about.
I can escort you. He won't mind too much.
Well, that's good.
And he leads you into the building. You enter through the armory, which, unfortunately, while it has excellent armor for sale, it has excellent armor in stock. All of it is currently being used by the soldiers stationed at this fort. Almost like later in the game, perhaps you'll be able to find a way to get some of this wicked sweet old school style goblin armor. As he leads you through a winding stair, you eventually come to the top of the Tower of the Blazing Eye, where you go into this large throne room, jet black stones, lush red furnishings, and there is this huge old tapestry of the heraldry of Demon Lord Morkill, the great eye wreathed in flame, that has just a ragged X painted over it in red paint. And sitting at a table and a chair facing the window looking out is not a very large goblin. I don't have art of him yet, so you're gonna have to wait up for that. Not a very menacing goblin, and as he turns around to you, not even really that much of an old goblin, maybe, roughly the goblin equivalent of being in your 30s. but he is dressed in a stately outfit, and he says, "Oi, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Fort Moraga. I'm
Thank you.
General Pressy. Nice to meet you all. Who are all of you? Why'd you let a Hume in here, Rich?
I'm sorry, sir. It's they've got business with you.
All right. So to business.
My name is Duck.
Groovin.
Is it because of the tail? Sorry, that's rude.
No, I don't know why parents named me. Oh no, it was just the thing. I have a brother that's grouse. I have a sister that's loon. There's heron. There's stork. You know, it was just a naming thing.
Oh, I see.
I was the second duck.
What happened to the first?
Oh, they're back home, back in Fairyland. I think they're a cobbler.
Well, that's nice.
A duck
So-
making shoes.
Are you here seeking sanctuary? Because we can help you find some of the other villages that are more capable of sustaining, but we really are focused on maintaining this fort with soldiers.
No, we're
Oh.
just here to give you a heads up about the Goblin War is starting.
Oh,
Fourth
We
one.
didn't even
well,
know you were
judging
here
by your-
until we were.
judging by your Frankish accents, I have to inform you this Goblin War has been going on for quite some time.
Oh, this
Fourth
is the
Goblin
fourth
Wars?
iteration.
Yes, I know, but the Fourth Goblin War has been going on here in Bretons for... What is it, 11 months?
10, sir.
10?
Close to 11.
Yeah, 11 months.
It doesn't surprise me that they got a foothold here and
Well,
That's every time they start here.
if you are then aware of that threat, then I'm afraid to say that we have encountered a different threat, taking advantage of the chaos to expand their reach in the form of redcaps. We've already seen one city completely drained and consumed.
His eyes go
pulls out her,
wide.
Duck pulls out
and
her
so
silver
do-
dagger and show that he was like, we've been having to fight them.
So, Pressy's eyes go wide, and so do the eyes of Ren, the grodier goblin who was on the wall, who's been accompanying you. Both of them looking in sheer terror, and Ren actually makes a sign of Hela across his chest.
Interesting.
Oh, to preserve us.
Red Cat.
Yes, they were even trying to take over a troll town near the roots of the tree. Which actually, because we were in the tree, was how we were able to spot you.
My God, Red Caps.
Oh, actually,
And
Duck
you're
will
saying
pull
you've
out-
encountered multiple infestations?
Yes, and Duck will pull out the tendril of a tissue that she stole from Rawhead.
It's more like congealed blood.
Yeah. She has it wrapped up because she's not letting that just slop around her pack.
Yeah. Your whatever magic we want to call the whatever equivalent of soul steel we're having in Midgahheim here, basically exercise the spirit glue that connected this blood to Rawhead, Bloody Bones, and the other Red Caps. So it is inert, but it still has like latent properties of that vampiric blood.
Yeah, Duck is storing things to see if she can make something really fucked up and cursed later.
Multiple infestations. I wonder what that means. Normally, red caps just pop up and they cause some chaos.
Our guess is they're trying to use the chaos and the fear of the Goblin Slayer army to be like, you'll be safe if you wear a red cap. It'll protect you. Is, I
Offering
think, what-
power in exchange for safety.
Which is, I
That's
think, what they
thoughtful.
offered to the, what was it, Melanbry?
Hmm.
Rilicon. It was Melanbry,
Looks
yeah.
thought- He looks thoughtful and he says, there is a mercenary who has been quartered with us for some time, who has experience with vampires. Her name is Tilda Grackle. Her grandmother was a veteran of the First Goblin War. I suggest you go and talk to her to get more information about an insight into this. I will consult with the texts that we have and talk to some of the goblins here in Anglesex and see if we can figure out if anyone else has seen movements of red caps on our side of things. Because the Goblin War is one thing, but dealing with a red cap resurgence would be... that could break us.
Yes, I'd recommend your smiths and armory start seeing if they can make silver spear tips and such. Silver works very well against them.
He nods.
We are sorry to bring this news, but we're glad to bring it before it was a problem.
No, I'm thankful for the early warning, and we shall do our best to prepare for the coming storm. What of the various goblin tribes in Frankane? What of our brothers and sisters in Amoragol? I know Skullcrock has fallen, but are any of the other settlements all right?
Melanbry we saw completely drank dry, but the ones in the Colette Flack, they are fine, and they are actually allied now with the humans of the lake. Mutual defense against the Bretonche, and mutual defense against the giant monster that's in the lake. Don't know if you've heard of it, but I might be saying too much.
He smiles. Oh, the spirit of the Black Knight's alive, then.
The ogre village that we mentioned is fine now after we got rid of their infestation.
We found there was one, and we managed to get rid of it before it could infect the others.
Good.
And we plan to travel to the others to warn them as well.
Do
I
so.
don't know,
And
and
Making him his voice
Grambouge.
really easy.
when you do, tell them that Fort Morago is ready to mobilize.
Oh,
We
excellent.
are not going to strike out without cause. But we do see our friends across the river, and if they need our aid, you can count on us.
They'll probably be very happy to hear that.
Oh, just so you know, we Art, maybe you should explain what the deal that just got brokered.
All right. Those kinds of things. Oh, hello. Name's Art Baker from the Third Goblin War. I've been dead for a bit, as you can tell. Didn't make it out of that one. Sorry about that. So there's gonna be one of the three contingencies of Sir Garston II, or Juniors, whatever you want to call him. The Big Prick. That's what I've been calling him. There's three contingencies, the main army being on Sir George Garston II, the third, and then one for each of his squire and his son. In particular, his son they're repairing the bridge between here and across the river, and then they're going to go marching in, but I talked to him, and I got it set up that they're not going after no goblins, they're going after no trolls, they're going after the weird things the Mad Monster Wizard's been doing. And that should buy you some time. And safety, per se.
When he hears the words Mad Wizard, his eyes flash, he says, "Oh, when you talk to the other goblin and boogeyman cities, make sure they don't ally with any mad wizards. It doesn't work out.
Oh
It
no,
just doesn't.
I understand entirely. We've actually been dealing with it because he's trying to get revenge. So the Mad Monster Wizard's trying to get revenge on one of the human cities. So he built a big thing called a Tarrasque, and he likes to eat everything. So be careful about that fella.
That's the problem with wizards. They've always got petty issues, and then they build some horrifying monsters, and they get us roped into it.
Exactly. So be careful of that. But I got at least one contingent of the army going after the Mad Wizard's monsters. So they have sworn upon blood oath and name oath that they will leave both goblin folk and human villages alike alone. So I don't know if the click picks up when I do it. I'm going around with these fellas, warning the human villages about the war, trying to get them to go against the anti-Breton side, because, let's be real, Garston's a dick. He doesn't need to be around. And also, I can't go back to being dead without it, so. It is what it is.
He has a pretty vested interest in ending this war. He says that as he gestures to Art.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna ask, but so is you cursed to come back from the grave?
So, I died on the battlefield against some Franken fellers, unbeknownst to myself. Breton's over in Summerlee.
We could tell from the way she talks.
Fair enough. Most people don't even question it, but we're not going to worry about that. So what happened was, I was on my way dying because some fella got me clean through the middle here. Art says, putting his hand through his torso in the stab wound where he died. And I'm but keeping in it as he's talking, as I lay dying, I'm like, if there's another fucking goblin war, I'm going to rise my ass up and stop it myself. And then as soon as it started going over to the Franken side where I was buried, I got my ass got up, and it's what I've been doing.
That's how I feel every time I have to wake up in the morning.
Right? Like, everyone's like, it's so unrelatable, then it's just waking up.
No, you crawl out of your grave and you're like, fuck, I've got more shit to do, don't I?
Exactly. Finally. Someone who gets it.
Ren, are you alright? Do you need a lighter shift?
No, boss, no, it just keeps going on, you know?
Maybe you need to talk to the headologist?
I might need to talk to the headologist, boss. I might need to do that.
Well, if there's nothing else, again, go see Tilda Grackle. And thank you for bringing this news.
Of course.
Come along, sirs and madams, I'll bring you to Miss Tilda.
Oh, before we get too far, Flavian, introduce yourself.
What?
Flavian,
He has a lot on his mind.
Flavian, this is an opportunity to make a business deal. Make a business deal.
I don't got anything in mind at the moment.
Introduce yourself. Tell them about what you're doing, so after all this is done, you can come back to Fort Morago. Open up your fields to make your money.
That's thoughtful of you, Art.
At least say hi.
Just a quick question about this place. Heraldry.
Oh, yes. Well,
Is the X about him being dead, or is it about you all being done with him?
both. So General Morago was the leader of the Goblin forces under Lord Morkill's army, and he was vocally disapproving of how Demon Lord Morkill ran things. Many have noted that in the final battle for Thamium, he allowed the Black Knight to go into Lord Morkill's quarters unhindered, and this led to the end of the war and the loss of our army. Which is why we named our fort after him. Morago saw truly, and while he did not have the authority to make all of the goblins turn side, he looked out for us and made sure the war ended so that we could escape from it. And so, while this fort was originally emblazoned with Morkill's heraldry, as soon as the war was over, we put it in Lord General Morago's name and crossed out the eyes of our former master. And to that day, we retain that heraldry as a reminder, so that way we know never to be misled again. To listen to wise goblins. Goblins like General Morago.
That's good to hear. Y'all have been camped up here since the first Goblin War, though. That's a long time to be cut off, kind of, from everybody else, isn't it?
Yes, our ancestors thought that it might be smart to always maintain a base. Most of our kind are scattered in small villages. It's why we're so easy to conquer and conscript. We thought if we had one very strong fortress and we kept it strong, maybe no one will be able to conscript goblins in Anglo-Sax again. We may not be able to stop goblin wars from happening, but at the very least we can make sure we're not on the villain's side of it.
Let's see. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be able to have a day where don't need to worry about such things anymore.
He nods. Ren nods.
I hope for a day of peace, where I can finally write my poems.
You can write your poems now, Ren.
No, not with a war on.
You're not active duty all the time.
Not with a war on, boss.
You need to see the headologist. I really do.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
All right. Ren leads you out and shows you to the house of Tilda Grackle. He knocks on the door for you.
Tilda, missy! We got some visitors for you, some real weird ones. That should be what you like.
And the person who answers the door, is a tall goblin woman with a very high degree of homophalsum, which is to say, she looks very, very human as far as goblins go. Her armor is of goblin craftsmanship, but done in a human style, and the elaborate padded armor she has underneath the metal armor, bears the bright colors of noble lineage, even though her armor is painted black and without heraldry marking her as a mercenary knight. She bears a very unique longsword whose hilt, the crossbar, is in the shape of a snake biting its tail, an Ouroboros. with the head and the tail tip of the snake both being in the center of the crossbar, while the coils stretch out to the sides in a sort of infinity sign. She looks at you all as you open the door, cocks her head to the side, her black humanish hair flowing in a very noble and attractive way from her green head. She says, "Hello? Who are these people you've brought to me, Ren?" These are some Frankish people came to talk about things. They know about redcaps. Redcaps are attacking in Frankane in addition to the Goblin War, and they're doing it in sort of a. They can explain it. And he walks away.
Thank you, Ren.
Thank you.
She nods to him and looks to you and says, "Well, enter, I suppose."
Thank you.
Be careful saying that to people if you are a vampire hunter.
They told you I had experience with vampires. I am not a vampire hunter.
Ah.
There's a friend of the family who's a human vampire.
Good on him.
She gestures to the couch. And when you get into this place, it's weirdly odd. Its furnishings are very human in terms of style. And also, really posh. She
Pardon
sits
me if
down
this is-
in a very big armchair and then lets you all sit, and then you can talk. I apologize for interrupting.
Sorry. Pardon me for if this is rude, but did you grow up here in Morago, or
No.
glancing around at the human decorations?
No, I was, great-grandmama asked me to come down here, and so I came. And as she says that, her very human for a goblin hands tap just a bit on the handle of her sword.
Does this Ouroboros imagery seem familiar?
This is going to be a very difficult double insight check. It is 16 is the difficulty.
Oof.
Damn.
Even what? Would it have demonic influences that would give me the bonus for the Maleficarum?
No.
Okay. And I can't. Oh, can I invoke a bond?
You're gonna have to
Yeah.
justify how that would make sense, because I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, no, that's why I said it kind of skeptically, because I'm just like,
I can't think of a way a bond would justify that in this moment, unfortunately. I'll give you this, because 13 is pretty fucking close to 16. I'll give you this.
I would have had a
Looking-
completely crit.
Looking at the sword, looking at the style of the hilt, while the sword is a long sword in the style of a human longsword, much like her armor, it is clear that goblin hands smithed this.
Okay.
Got, human style and make of sword, but goblin craftsmanship. There's just a way that goblins approach blacksmithing that is visually different than how humans do it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll also say that you know that the Ouroboros is a symbol in magic that specifically refers to the idea of a very long and everlasting cycle. And so if you were to sculpt a magic item with an Ouroboros symbol or make a magic item with an Ouroboros symbol, it would be something that is designed to have a very long lasting enchantment.
Okay.
So, vampires?
Red Cap specifically.
They're using the chaos of the Goblin War to basically make goblins an offer that they don't think they can refuse.
She nods.
Pagan's already been claimed by that offer.
So vampires, like everything, are driven by a need to reproduce, to make more of their kind. And they do so by infecting others. Just like us, they can choose whether to reproduce. It's not like they're completely without will in this case. Just because they have the drive doesn't mean they need to act on it. And there are plenty of vampires who control those impulses. From what I know historically of the red cap disease, it's not one of the ones that does. If stories are right, all red caps share the same consciousness.
I can confirm that. Just was it yesterday or earlier today?
Yesterday, I'm pretty sure.
Yesterday. Yeah, you guys were able to get a nap.
Oh, that's right. We rested at Francis's place. Duck goes. Just yesterday we were in a troll town near the roots of the tree, and I had a conversation with Rawhead Bloody Bones through an infected troll. He was quite mad, but he has a plan. I think he's trying to break his curse.
She looks softly and she says, the thing is, if every creature that's infected of red cap disease just becomes another part of this consciousness, then it can't reproduce. Not in a way that would satisfy the itch.
That's the thing. I think that's his curse, because we got talking about curses, long story, and he said his curse was loneliness. No matter how many he tries to make another vampire, it's just he's talking to himself.
Well,
he can only be the only one of his kind, I think.
Unfortunately for him, there's no cure for vampirism. You have to learn to live with it. Alright, so you guys are dealing with some sort of big vampire infestation of the worst kind over in Frankane. That's pretty shit.
Duck will pull out the jar of blood and just kind of put it on the coffee table or table.
Is that jerky? What is that?
It's a piece of rawhead. That's the thing, I extracted it from him magically. Something.
She gives you a skeptical look, then looks at the jar, and then she does something that looks very silly. She presses her forefingers to her temples and squints really hard at the jar, almost looking constipated as she does it, like a... Oh.
Like the meme of the guy levitating the pizza to himself?
Exactly like the meme of the guy levitating the pizza. She looks at it, and then her eyes go wide. She goes, oh, and she pulls her fingers away, and she's like, oh, that's interesting. It's like when you cut a piece off. That is, vampires, when their limbs are cut off, unless the limb is reattached, like physically just, and she mimes just like putting an arm back into its socket. Unless the limb is reattached, the limb will eventually just grow inert and stay dead. There's a couple of exceptions depending on the strains of vampirism, but it becomes inert dead flesh, but it retains all that ectoplasmic sorry, that's an alchemist term. Spirit glue residue, the
Mhm.
soul juices, the stuff that makes it weird. It retains all of that, which makes it very potent in terms of magic as a magic ingredient.
Excellent.
She looks
I
at that,
told
she's like,
him,
you could use that to temper a sword or a mace or some sort of weapon, and it would probably be pretty strong.
good. I've been considering, but I did tell him I was going to use it to hurt him somehow. So that's good to know I can.
As my grandmother would say, great grandmother would say, it's always good to make true on promises of violence.
Yes. You gotta burn your bridges behind you. You don't know who's following.
So you lot are from Frankane?
Most recently. Yeah,
She
exiled from Fairyland.
she unbuckles the frog on her belt to remove the sheath of the sword with the sword in it, and she hefts it a bit and she says, I was given a task that involves crossing the border, but with the current problems I don't see how that's possible. But you got here, so that means you know a way through the Bretonche lines. And she hands the sword to you.
To who?
Whichever one of you will take it.
Guess I will. Nobody else wants to.
Swords are more of a Grugan thing.
Yeah.
This sword belonged, well, not to my great grandmother, but to her friend. I'm not. Whenever they tell me the story, it sounds like some sort of weird polyamory thing. But she made it for a knight of some sort. It's God, what the hell do they name it? Durandal, I think. Anyway, she said that this needs to go to the Grumbook. Can I trust that you can get it to him and not let it fall into Bretonche hands?
You know what? I know him personally. I will help deliver it. Yes.
I'll get it to them.
I promise the only potentially Bretonche hands that will be handled in are mine, and I don't think that counts because I died in a different country. I was reawakened. They haven't given me the
Chelsea
rules
is
on
like-
that yet.
Just you, mate, you're a skeleton. What the fuck's going on with that?
I don't want to be rude, but
I
Veteran
don't care
of the
about
third,
being rude.
veteran of the Third Goblin War, technically.
Oh. Kill a lot of my kinsmen, did you?
Oh fuck no! I just killed a lot of Bretonche. I killed a lot of Frankane dudes. Oh no
Oh, no one
they
cares.
killed me.
Thank you.
But in any case, I'm resurrected to help make sure this Goblin War shenanigans just kind of fucking stops.
He did kind of
I do.
rise from his grave just to do that.
That's true. I can't go back to sleep until that, and beyond that, no, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much what I'm doing. I do a lot of the human talking because the Frankane have this whole thing about the hallowed dead. Kind of fun.
Useful. I'll get this sword to the Grumbook.
Thank you. Oh, you're a bunch of ragtag heroes on a mission. This war is fucked.
I just have fucking Durandal in my goddamn backpack. That's nice.
Well, she thinks it's called Durandal. You don't know for sure that's its name.
Okay, I'll put a question mark behind it.
And don't worry, its actual name is Excalibur.
Hasn't been made yet.
Caliber?
Okay. Excalibur, Caliber, and Clarent all have a specific shared origin, which has not occurred yet. It's
Okay.
close to, but hasn't occurred yet in the universe of this. But anyways, not to give away, I don't want to give away too many things that I'm preparing, but are really just for me, nerd wise. So they really shouldn't matter to you all that much. But yeah, you have a cool sword with an infinity symbol for a hilt that's also made out of a snake. Belongs to a knight of some sort, maybe, who might be dead from the sounds of it. Maybe also fucked her great grandmother. You're not sure.
We'll figure it out.
No, Polyamory might have been involved. You're not sure.
No, pleasure meeting you, I suppose.
She looks at the jar and says, "You should take it over to the smithy. They might be able to make it into something, although it'll take a while."
Oh, to the blood.
Mm-hmm. As I said, if you use that to temper a sword while it's being forged, probably a pretty nasty sword. Or
I was
knife.
actually
Or...
wondering. You seem to have a keen eye for items of potential, then, and Duck will pull out the thorn from the briar thorn that only Art has seen before.
Mhm.
Wondering if might be able to incorporate something like this.
She looks at it and she's like, well, again, thinking in terms of a sword or a dagger or some sort of weapon with a short hilt, this could make a good basis of a hilt. Looks to be fey enchanted wood by some sort of unseelie nobleman,
What was their name?
and
They did
has
a-
a distinct touch of wormwood about it too.
What was the name of the who rose up the briars? I can't remember her name.
I don't remember what I don't know if I gave the evil. Oh, you mean the Duchess from the Briar Fang, Duchess
Yeah.
Marion Bluche.
It was the Unseelie who cursed Marion Bluche's family, the Duchess's family.
Oh yeah, turned into a dragon and then got stabbed. Oh yeah. Oh, weird times.
He is curious now. Sorry, I feel like Deck is doing a lot of talking again. So
Like, you had
You're-
a lot of things to show her, so.
Yeah. So, do you guys go to the smithy?
I did have
Or
a
you can-
question, but maybe
Yeah.
that.
No, go ahead.
So I noticed Ren did the sign of Hela. Is she big here? Or worshipped here?
Tilda makes a sort of gesture with her hands. Most of us don't practice any devout worship, but we've taken note of the gods. We're not under the Fey court, so we don't get in trouble for mentioning them or asking for their help, and some of us feel comforted by the process.
Yeah.
Personally, my family never took much stock in the gods. We think that mortals make their own fates and bring their own luck to things.
Well,
But-
bugger.
I was
My
just curious 'cause-
my honorary auntie is a vampire, so take that as you will.
Ooh, you
Yeah.
have a very interesting family.
Was she part of the polyamory thing, or?
Yeah, I think they're always cagey about it. I'm not gonna judge; they can just tell me.
I love that you're calling yourself out when you say that.
No, I get it. Like, my wife ran me by that once. Never really was comfortable with it, but
Your fucking wife ran that by you once.
I'm also not going to be upset if I find out that she remarried. She's a wonderful lady and needed to get remarried. Any dude, any bloke or lass would be lucky to have her. God, so I miss my wife.
When did you die, dude? She might be dead.
Well, some of the things he says kind of makes me wonder if she was a human or not. Like, you said she was able to speak fluent dragon speak.
No, I said she tried to teach me dragon speak, and my mouth couldn't do it.
But that implies hers could. I'm not asking you what your wife's mouth could do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good. I did not have to bap you up the head. She was my wife, and I loved her dearly, and that's all that matters. She
That's
had a
very
lot of,
sweet.
and she had a lot of really weird hobbies that come up in really weird times.
You've noticed.
Well, I
I
fell
don't
in
mean
love
that
with
in
her.
like a sarcastic way. I just mean that like, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what's making me question.
She looks at her and she's like, if you want to learn to speak dragon, there's spells that give you the ability to speak dragon, right?
See, I don't need to speak dragon. I can like vaguely do it a little bit, but like,
Okay, to tell you, you do need to speak dragon because they have some exquisite curse words.
okay, that's a valid point. I'll see if I can't find me one of them spells.
Oh,
I'm
Wait.
serious. Yeah.
Oh.
Dragon.
maybe you can tell me what this dragon called me. And he does a, albeit poor, impression of what the roars the dragon did.
Can you remind me the insult she ladled on you?
Oh yeah, because Duck was the one who could hear it. She called him a scavenger and like a runt, I think.
I think she called him like a race traitor too.
Yeah,
Trader was
like,
one of
Trader
them.
like
and a scavenger.
essentially the dragon equivalent of calling someone an Uncle Tom.
what the fuck's an Uncle Tom?
We do not have the bandwidth to do that on this show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we don't. That's a lot to get into. But basically a traitor to your kind is the gist of it. She's like, well, first of all, why don't you speak dragon? You're a dragon.
I hit my head and forgot my language ability.
She squints like, I'd say that sounds like bullshit, but I do know someone who has had head trauma-induced amnesia at least twice, so fine. Those words mean that you're a scavenger and a traitor to your kind.
That sounds right.
Look, dude, don't talk about yourself that way. Don't betray your own kind. What the fuck?
Goddamn.
To be fair, we accidentally invaded a nest of a dragon.
Didn't know it was a pit dragon's lair. We just thought it was a knothole in the big tree.
And then it tried to talk dragon at him, and he can't speak dragon, so it went over about as well as you think it would go.
Yeah, and then I try to be diplomatic because I can speak dragon, and I said the wrong things. It just upset it even more. That was painful.
Yeah, some dragons can be really touchy. But, if you just respect them, don't go fucking around with their horde, they're pretty chill.
Yeah, she got very upset that I saw those 4 Dragon Slayer armor bodies and Dragon Slayer corpses before she had a chance to clean them up. I think she was more upset about the cleanliness of the place.
Yeah, so hordes have this very important, and then she starts going into this diatribe about the cultural significance of hordes and dragons, and that it's not just a collection of stuff, but an expression of the dragon's artistic soul. And she goes on in a very, very large amount of detail that's honestly a little terrifying.
Like when Francis was telling us about the animals of his preserve.
Yeah, very similar to that. And like that, it's also like she has a lot of personal experience with this, apparently.
You would really get along with Francis.
Who's Francis?
Oh, he's the
Yetin.
Yetin. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember Yetin. He's the Yetin up in the tree that's running a preserve full of animals.
He loaned us some rucks to come down here.
That does sound cool.
He is pretty cool.
I mean, if you want, you might be able to fly back with me. I'm small enough on the bird. To introduce you.
She thinks about it. Maybe when all this is done. So long as you get the sword to the Grumboog, I would like to stay here and make sure Fort Morago stands tall. Great Grandma says it's a service to a friend to make sure that Fort Morago doesn't fall.
Like one of her polyamorous friends, or like an actual friend?
Sorry to keep moving into that.
One of her possibly polyamorous friends. Yeah,
That's fair.
Like, Grugan's over there just thinking we should stop asking that because I think Grandma cast a wide net.
Oh God, was she the grandfather from Stories?
You mean Stories 2? Stories 2 is where you had the slutty grandfather.
Slutty grandpa.
Everyone loved him in a way that
Grandpa
feels
got
very
around.
intimate.
And carnal.
Do you remember when I looked up at everybody? It's like, is everybody fucking my grandpa in this game or what?
Everybody fucked that old man.
But yeah. Any more questions for this NPC?
I don't think so.
It would just be pulling out more things and be like, hey, look at this weird shit. But I think that has done that enough.
You can't show all your treasures.
Yeah,
There's
it's
lots
just-
of people that look
I'm
at
very-
your weird shit.
I'm very curious about the amber vial that we got from Hela, and then we see people are worshiping Hela here, so I was just like, oh, maybe it's a hint, but
Unfortunately, not in this case. You're gonna have to find a more complete altar to the Germanorian pantheons.
I had a feeling it was something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smithy?
If you leave the thorn and the dried redcap blood with the goblin smithy. The next time you come here, which might not be for a while, there will be a very cool weapon waiting for you.
Okay.
You can also
Okay.
commission custom armor from Fort Morago, but again, it'll take a while for you to get it.
Would okay. And it wouldn't be any better if I found like another ingredient to throw in, or would these 2 items be sufficient for something really neat?
It'd be pretty sufficient. I would like to know what type of weapon you would like it to be.
Well, Duck does mostly daggers and arcane items, but that's her dagger and the daggers, and then the book she has, the Malficarum. But probably something daggery.
Okay.
I-
Anyone else? Like, if you want to commission some specific type of armor done in Fort Morago, it will be very good. Like, useful for late game loot, but it will also be loot that you'll only be able to claim from Fort Morago later in the story.
Sure.
You're gonna have to get me specifics though.
Fuck.
Like, do you want a cool set of non-martial armor, a cool set of like martial armor, a cool sword, a cool pike?
Oh,
I'll let you get one. I'll let you order one thing each as payment
actually,
for bringing news. Yeah.
I just noticed I have written in my notes that Duck did take the training to learn how to do a rapier. So can I change that to a thorn rapier kind of deal?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Urban would like some martial armor, if possible.
Same with Moncher.
Can I
Oh,
hear
could they alter
Smash?
the Dragon Slayer armor?
Ooh, yeah.
They could.
Yeah, fuck it. We ball.
I mean, that's up to you. It was just an idea that popped in my head. And that's how you have to do that. I don't want to.
It would
No,
be
fuck it.
funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Also-
like,
Also
Goblin.
badass.
yeah, goblins Mets modifying a dragon slayer's armor for a dragon.
Like, that's just badass, is what that is.
Especially
Yeah.
when he's leading the anti-Goblin racism army.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and have it be martial armor and whatnot.
I'm reading Maple Samurai's comments again, and Liz has decided that at least 3 characters in the session are new husbandos or waifus. Is Liz the grandmother in this situation? With the wide.
We say that with affection. Thank you for watching.
Yes, please thank you for watching. I'm not making fun of you because I dislike all of this. I think it's fantastic. I bully
Yeah, it's
people
great.
lovingly. I do it to Will all the time.
Can confirm.
Yes, as it should be. All right. So yeah, think about that. But we are at the end of this session tonight because we're pretty close to 10, and also it's daylight savings time, so everything feels later.
Yes.
Good game, everybody. I'm glad that we had that fun chat with Flavian's younger brother. Good night.
Good night.